RoadflyTV, the internet's best resource for buyers, sellers, and owners like you.
Hi, I'm Ross Rappaport with RoadflyTV. Thanks for watching this episode of RoadflyTV. Today, I'm taking a much-needed break from 400 horsepower luxury sedans to focus on Ford's all-new Explorer. This total redesign heralds a new direction for the vehicle that single-handedly spawned the SUV craze back in the 1990s. So much is new about this car that it's hard to know where to start. But here's the basic rundown. The Explorer is now a unibody crossover, rather than a body-on-frame SUV. This car is much more suited to the post-recession American family life, and its new unibody architecture gets more done with less. The new 3.5-liter V6 has a projected rating of 283 horsepower and 252 pound-feet of torque, and is estimated to get 17 miles per gallon in the city and 23 on the highway. And that's enough to get this 5,000-pound crossover to 60 miles an hour in the low 8-second range, which is about a second quicker than the old Explorer equipped with a V8 could manage. So obviously, performance and fuel economy are both going to improve when you switch to a crossover body. But what about those hallmarks of traditional ladder frame SUV excellence, like towing or off-roading? For starters, towing is definitely going to take a hit. The old Explorer, when equipped with a V8 which is no longer offered for 2011, could tow 7,000 pounds, and this can only tow 5,000 pounds. Despite the loss, that's still on par with most modern SUVs, like the Jeep Grand Cherokee or the Acura MDX. Ford is hoping that the new model's better driving dynamics and improved technology will compensate for the loss of the ladder frame ruggedness. So this Explorer doesn't have a 2-speed transfer case or a locking rear center differential, but it does have a terrain selector with 4 different settings depending on what kind of terrain you need to tackle, and electronic hill descent control. On the roads here in Northern Virginia, the Explorer is really impressive. It handles stably and predictably, and it brakes well, essentially all the things that ladder frame SUVs don't do. Another thing that really surprised me is how quiet it is in here. I suppose that's in large part due to the car's more aerodynamic body. While the car is not as hard-edged and aggressive as some of the more performance-oriented crossovers, at 80 miles an hour it exhibited a stability that fell only just short of what I experienced in the Porsche Cayenne. But for as much as I like driving this car, there's one thing that really bugs me. It's the operation of the 6-speed Selectshift Transmission. There aren't any paddle shifters or buttons on the steering wheel. There isn't even a separate gate for the shifter. Ford decided that if you were the kind of driver that wanted to shift your own gears, you'd be happy doing so with a teeny little rocker button on the shifter itself. And there's one other thing I'm not that wild about, but because the car locks out some essential navigation functions while you're in motion, I'm going to have to pull over to tell you about them. Now, for starters, let me say that this is by far the most comprehensive OEM navigation system I've ever tested. So the driver controls navigation, phone, audio, and climate functions all through the nav screen with an interface that Ford calls My Touch, which is actually really cool. Everything is just a little touch sensor. There are no actual buttons that you have to hit. So it's pretty neat and futuristic, but it is insanely complex. You don't want to be working it while you're driving, absolutely. Other than that, the system is really cool, and I think it's really going to be a serious asset. However, my favorite feature on this car isn't the terrain selector. It's not even this really cool, remotely operated, height-adjustable tailgate. Nope, it's actually the rear seat, which has easily the coolest answer to the "how do we fold these things" question I've ever tested. First, there's a rocker switch, which will allow you to toggle between adjusting the left, the right, or both. You hit the fold button, they fold all the way forward, and reveal the vehicle's true floor right here for some extra storage. But if you hit the stow button, they flip open and reveal a completely flat load floor. With the seats folded down like this, I've got 43.8 cubic feet of cargo capacity. But All I need to do is fold the second row forward like this, and I've got 80.7 cubic feet of storage back here. That is 12 feet more than the Jeep Grand Cherokee. As I said earlier, there have been so many sweeping changes made to this car that I just don't have the time to talk about them all. But I can say that it's made quantum leaps in a lot of areas, like performance, fuel economy, overall refinement, interior design, cargo capacity. That is just mind-boggling. Now, you will pay for all these improvements and for the car's newfound do-it-all versatility. Explorers in general start at around $29,000, but our limited test car went all the way up to $45,000. And that is only $1,200 shy of an Acura MDX. So, for all the things that this car can be and can do in 2011, it's not really the budget choice. I'm Ross Rappaport. Thanks for watching this episode of RoadflyTV. Please join our community by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and I read and respond to most of your comments, so please leave me some.
Roadfly.com, the internet's best resource for buyers, sellers, and owners like you.